All right, welcome back to another episode of the Great Heavy Music Podcast. Here we are today talking about a little bit of concert going, and I have Phil Collins with me today, and Phil's going to be the one telling us about a show he saw recently. So, Phil, welcome aboard, brother.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not,
Um, late July or June, it was the 29th. We went to this little, as you said, podunk little local metal fest, but it was pretty fun. It was called the Southern PA Metal Fest here in Hanover, Pennsylvania, at the Cadorus State Park Band Shell. And Alex, you went to Cadorus with me not too long ago, and you saw that. Pretty funny setting for a metal fest.
yeah, a really
Um,
serene, beautiful, green, lush lake scene with a little water park. Sounds just perfect for a metal show.
yeah, I think doom and gloom all day when I hear that stuff. So there were a lot of bands. I don't remember all of who they were, but I have a couple in mind I was going to shout out. But I wanted to say first, it was pretty cool because Joey came up and he brought his lady friend, and we all went over there. And when we got there, I was like, all right, I don't know if it's gonna be packed or what. And there was like, I think there was like 11 people at this whole thing. It
That's
was,
crazy.
yeah, it was, and it stayed that way. I mean, a couple people showed up. There was one like older guy, and he was so into it, and I think he was plastered and strange. And he's like, "You here for the Battle Fest?" You know, like, and we're like, "Yeah." And he was like coming all over at us and like talking to us and shit. He was a little strange, but he was down with it, and I was happy for him. But
Yeah.
there was one band there. I don't remember what their name was, so I'm not going to call anybody out, even if I did. But I truly don't remember. And they sucked. I'm sorry. They weren't good. It was just a couple of them because it was like a sound problem. You couldn't hear the guy, and even the guy who was all tits over boners, but everybody was older guy. Even he was like, ugh. You could he was kind of walking away from it.
Yeah, if you can't make that guy happy, it's over. You
Right.
failed.
But I did get a chance to listen to a couple cool bands. So there's a band called Homily. They're kind of, I would say, screamo. They do a little bit of brutal growls at times, but they they were pretty catchy. I actually bought a shirt from them, and I got the email address of the singer, and I emailed him initially then about doing an interview. I haven't talked to him since, but he seemed pretty down with it if we were so inclined to talk to this gentleman. They do have an EP out with some pretty decent songs. It's called Needless Existence, Endless Path. That just rolls off the tongue, but
Yeah, and
the
I had that playing right now. Needless Existence,
okay.
Endless Path. It's a 5-song, 19-minute EP released in 2023 by Homily, Homily.
Yep. And the song Proverbial You is it's all a little it's all like it's a little I would say raw, but man, there's definitely a foundation there of I would say good songwriting. And so Proverbial You and 757 are both solid songs that I would recommend to people if they're trying to get into something a little bit more on the local flavor. There was also there was a band called, I don't know why they're called this, and I tried to look them up. They're called Horse Grenade. My theory is that it was a joke on the phrase horseshoe and hand grenade, and they mixed it up. You know,
Yeah, okay.
right? Like I guess there's a joke where he close only counts on horse grenades or something. Um, this band, for not really having a presence on Spotify, or I don't even iTunes that I saw, maybe I missed them.
Is
You have a
is
band.
Horse Grenade
Okay.
one word?
That's two words.
Okay, let me see if they're on Google here. There's a video of them from February 18th, 23 at West York Inn.
Yeah, that sounds right because they are from this area, and I think I saw that same video. Those guys have pretty good merch for a band who apparently has not much of a presence online. You know, and they're actually pretty good at singing and jamming. I mean, it's like they have that vibe of like when you go into 70,000 Tons of Metal, of a band that's been around forever, and you're like, how did I never hear these guys? These are pretty cool. They carry themselves like they've been around. I don't know if they were in other stuff, but they were actually pretty good. Just a little bit more, like, to me, old school thrashy. And I was actually a pretty big fan of those guys. They're pretty good.
Yeah, got
But
you know the
yeah,
hardest when you're watching small local acts like this, like I've done a couple times with Katie down here. The hardest part is the vocals. You know,
yeah,
you can usually find some guys who can thrash a little guitar and bass and drums, and they can riff out and they can hang up. But you know, the singing is it's like if you got a good singer, it'll go far because it's tough to find one.
yeah, dude, exactly. And also, they're doing it again here for like a fall metal bash. But the I don't know, the acoustics are great for this. I mean, it's like if you're standing off to the side, it's like you can hear pretty great. If you're standing right in front of it, it's like, what? I don't know what the guys. And and if you're a little bit, if you're like more than like 50 feet away, you don't know what they're saying. I mean, it's not that you don't know what they're saying; it's that you can't even hear what they're saying. And so, anyway, whatever, they're gonna do it again. Maybe I'll go again, but it doesn't do justice to this band. I think is probably pretty decent. But nonetheless, even with that accounted for, they sounded pretty good. And then I wanted to shout out to this band called Within Me. I was only able to find one single on Spotify called All the Same. These guys are kind of I would say maybe like post-hardcore type screamo band at times with a good amount of clean singing. And they had this lead singer who looks like Danny McBride.
No
He
way.
was so cool. He had a cool mullet. He was a big, like, burly guy, and he had Hawk Tua. I don't know if you've seen that meme, I'm sure, that girl said that.
No.
You never saw that? It's some girl was talking about giving a guy. It was on like a social media post, giving a guy a blowjob, and she said you got to give him that Hawk Tua, basically like a cartoon sound effect for spitting on the guy's dong. It was like it went viral. It was like a huge thing, and he had Hawk Tua 2024 like for president on his wearing that shirt, and he had this giant mullet, and he started singing, and it's so not what you would think. It had like that kind of old school emo kind of, not whiny, but like sort of emotional kind of sound, and he was really good. He's a really good front man.
Well, I'm playing it. I'm playing it underneath right now. It sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah, this was quality. These guys are pretty good. So they're called Within Me. The single that's most accessible is called All the Same. I don't actually even know if he played that there. He probably did. He played a lot of songs I don't know about, but they all sounded good. And the single All the Same is solid. And so I got his information. I went to him and asked him if we could do an interview with him. And I talked to him initially and got his through Instagram. I messaged him, and then I messaged him again. So I don't have any times. I didn't give him any times about interviewing because I didn't know when we'd be available. But it sounds like he'd be down. He was pretty entertained by the fact that my name is Phil Collins. So he was like, "Your name's Phil Collins?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh my god!" And then he called his buddy over, and they were all like, "Ah," like, you know. So I feel like that helps sort of connect us a little bit. So I think maybe he'll be down to do an interview. I was like, "Hey, it's Phil Collins, remember me?" And he'll be like, "Oh yeah." So,
it's an icebreaker.
So, yeah, yes, exactly right. It's an icebreaker, big time. So I think we could probably do an interview with them, and they're pretty cool. So those are 3 bands that I thought were worth mentioning.
Just from what I'm hearing so far, I got to say, I think these bands the future's bright for PA. I mean, it sounds like there's some decent stuff coming out of there.
Yeah, and I had to hand it to the people that came out. It wasn't that many, but it was encouraging to see some people out there. Like, all right, because this is kind of a rural town, you know, and see some people into some metal. That was cool. And there were older people there, people you would just as soon see playing golf or something.
Right.
You wouldn't, you know, and that was cool. Open-minded, you know. So I was impressed by that.
Nice.
And it was a good experience.
Was the weather good for it? A sunny day?
Oh, it was a hot, fucking scorcher sunny day.
Really? Oh, even worse.
Yep. Joey and I were and it was me, Cody, Joey, and we were all there hanging out. It got a little too hot, so we left. But after probably I would say maybe 2 hours. But it was cool.
And it was going all night into the late hours.
I think it went to I think it went from noon to 7.
Wow, they did pick the earliest part of the day, huh? You wonder why they didn't start at 3 and go to 9.
I know. I was a little, it was a little. It could have been done a little better, but I think it's the first one, so I think they're kind of just, ironing out the kinks, so to speak, and just maybe they weren't even sure if people were going to come, so they're going to do it again. I saw, so hopefully it's a little better. Fall might be a more appropriate season for something like that, anyway.
I'd say, and maybe you know what? Maybe they're going to make another Maryland Death Fest because that's blown up. You know what I mean? So if they can strike gold and put a couple of these together and build something even half as big as that's become, they're in a good spot.
Yeah, that's true, man. So that's all. It was pretty cool. and definitely we should try to interview that Within Me band because they have pretty good talent.
Yeah, I'd say he's got some serious potential with pipes like that. That's the hardest thing to do. You can find some trash to play underneath it, but if you can sing on top, it can really polish a turd. You know what I mean? So, and this music's good too. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that the hardest part is the vocals.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything funny happen? Anybody eat shit? Anybody slip on the stage? Anybody break a guitar and just not have strings and just leave? Like anything of comedic impact or no?
Nah, not really. There wasn't.
Just the epic mullet.
Yeah. There was one band, again, I won't mention, but I felt so bad because it was, I don't know if they were that not very good. It was like one or two people and in this act, and the sound was just not there. It was literally like there wasn't a one.
How can you not remember if it was one or two people? Because if it was one person playing the drums, guitar, and singing...
I'm saying that to keep it more obscure, so...
I see. It was a very small number of people.
It was one guy. It was one singer and a drummer. That's all.
Did the singer
play
a
guitar?
Okay, got it.
He had a guitar.
Well, that's tough to not have a bass player.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It didn't sound that good, but
yeah.
But no, I just didn't want to. Not that they're going to listen to this, probably. But if they did, I don't want to be a dick. But I felt bad because the sound definitely was not right, and it just was rough. Man. I felt bad for him. And like I said, that was kind of funny because the old guy that was super down was definitely like. He started.
I'm picturing the old guy who's super down being like real skinny, like alcoholic skinny.
Yeah, I think he appeared that way. I'll say that.
Like real tan, leathery, skinny guy.
He was still more on the pale side, but he had that weird like wiriness about him, like an old alcoholic. You know those kind of people.
Yeah, somebody you would not mess with because you don't know what's going to be in the pocket.
No, and this guy's been in fights.
Yeah,
sure.
Yep.
He knows his way around a fight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Know the type. Well, that sounds fun, man. It's cool that you did that. I'm glad we got to chat about it, and I don't even know where we're at, but if we're closing in on episode 100, I'm going to leave us in suspense here, but we are going to be doing a special surprise episode for episode 100, and I'm going to log in right now to our account and see where we're at, because that might be the next one we do, and I'm going to be pretty excited about that. So I'll keep our listeners in suspense. Let's see, how many have we done to this moment? So what would you like to venture a guess how many episodes we've had before today?
I'm going to say 82 episodes.
That's a good guess. Let's see here. The answer is 97.
What?
97 episodes. So we are 3 episodes away from episode 100, and we're going to do something special when we get there. So I'm pretty pumped about that. So we're closing in on it, my brew. We're kicking some serious ass over here.
Yeah, no doubt. That's cool, man. Good for us.
That's right. It's been fun, brother. Okay, well, good. I'll let you go, and then we'll chat soon. And as always, this is the Great Heavy Music Podcast. Alex and Phil. Later.
See you, buddy.